If you're listening to this episode in real time, then you are on it, and I'm so excited because I am opening up booking for 2 weeks only for free, yes, absolutely 100% free soul strategy mini readings. This is where I tell you your CEO archetype, your core gift, your business edge, which is what makes you stand apart from other businesses, and your impact direction, which tells you whether you're here to just be fully in alignment with yourself and create a ripple effect through your own alignment that impacts others, or whether you're really meant to live out your life purpose through fated connections and collaborations. So when you know these things, it becomes so much easier to build a business that's in alignment with you. Again, these sessions are only going to be open for 2 weeks, and you can lock yours in at breannakay.com/soul strategy. I cannot wait to chat with you and to get to know you and the heart behind your business a little bit deeper. If you're anything like me, Rebels, you know that your clutter isn't just physical. It's also mental, emotional, and it's secretly, probably low-key, ruining your life. We all scroll Pinterest and Instagram, and we drool over these perfectly staged homes, color-coded closets, and minimalist Pinterest boards, but why does it feel like decluttering just doesn't stick? Everything seems to build right back up. The truth is that if your mindset is messy, then your home will be too. And no amount of Marie Kondo folding tricks or TikTok decluttering challenges will change that. So that's why today, Kate Evans, psychologist, life and home decluttering coach, and soon to be author of Ditch Your Shit, Decluttering Your Mindset to Declutter Your Home, is on the podcast. Kate blends psychology coaching and ancient wisdom from yoga to help women clear the mental junk that keeps their homes and their lives cluttered. Kate's breaking down why traditional decluttering methods fail, how your thoughts literally shape your space, and the shifts that can make decluttering actually work. Plus, listen in because I share a really cool story about a time that I was actively decluttering and I saw something come to fruition in the midst of clearing space for it, and how decluttering and keeping a clean home can actually maybe low-key be a growth strategy for your business. Okay, let's dive in. Welcome to Rebel CEO, the podcast where we ditch the rules and build businesses that don't just make money, but set your soul on fire. I'm Breeanna Kay, your business coach, freedom advocate, and personal permission slip to dream bigger. I scaled my own business to 6 figures while breaking every mold that people told me to fit into, and now I'm here to help you do the same. I'll help you build a business and a life that's so deeply rooted in your purpose that you never feel like you missed out on the life that you were supposed to live. This is your time to root down, rise up, rebel, and manifest all of your wild goals. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's dive in. Kate, thank you so much for being with. I just did a podcast episode recently on more of the energetics of your space. So I'm really excited to also talk about the decluttering of the space now that we have the energetics under wraps. But will you first tell listeners who you are as a soul before we get into all of the fun questions?
So I'm Kate Evans. I am a decluttering coach. I'm also a psychologist and a yogi. And let's see, what else do we want to know about me? I have a book coming out this fall in October called Ditch Your Shit, Decluttering Your Mindset to Declutter Your Home. And I am the proud fur mama of 2 calico cats.
Okay, amazing. So, what do you think it is that's actually keeping the clutter and like the physical junk around whenever somebody has that clutter corner or a little area that they can't quite ever seem to get clean?
Clutter is really it is a result of something emotional. And no one really wants to deal with that. No one wants to talk about that, but it truly is. If you keep on leaving stuff somewhere, so if we're talking about just little places, there's some reason for that. And that might seem a little too depthful, like why are we thinking so deep about little spots of clutter? But it can be that you are not taking care of yourself, and to clear that space, because you talked about energetics. And so if you have your spot next to the couch and that is always cluttered with stuff, you are not taking care of yourself by clearing that space. And there is something about you not thinking you are worth taking care of by going through the what is probably just a couple of minutes to clear that stuff out. Now, if we're talking about a bigger room, now we're talking about deeper emotional things that might go back to childhood. And boy, nobody wants to talk about their childhood. Nobody wants to talk about what, the messages that they got from mom and dad and how that could have something to do with their clutter. But honestly, guys, it really is. It's that deep. And if you dig that stuff out, you don't have to have clutter anymore.
So, what would you say to somebody who is used to having clutter but they're wanting to change that? Like what would they kind of start tackling to be able to make waves in that department that actually stick versus cleaning out the clutter once and then it coming back?
So you look at your stuff and you start asking yourself, well, how did this start? So you moved into this space and there was nothing there. And then stuff started getting cluttered. There are habits that you have. In my book, I call them, there's literally a chapter about shitty habits. And what are these habits about? Where did they come from? And you start thinking to yourself, asking yourself those questions of where did these habits come from? I used to think that I was just a slob. So that was a limiting belief that I had about myself. And so you ask yourself, well, is that really true? Am I just a slob? Because I've had a lot of clients ask them or tell me that about themselves. But where do these habits actually come from? Because it's not just as simple as saying, well, it's just the way I am. Did they come from, how were you taught this from childhood? Is it because you don't put that kind of effort into yourself? And then think about that and then think, what am I willing to change? Because the willingness to change is so important because we can get awfully willful and not wanting to change, not wanting to do the work because the work is hard. So I would tell somebody to start asking themselves these questions, to get really curious about themselves, to ask themselves, well, why do I always put stuff down and not put stuff away? Why do I leave like empty granola bar wrappers lying on the kitchen table and not put them in the trash bin? Why do I not fold the laundry and put it away? Why do I always live out of a laundry basket? And it is not as simple as I don't have enough time. It is deeper than that.
Okay, I can relate to the laundry basket one because I hate putting laundry away. It is the worst. I actually went to a bachelorette party this last weekend, so I have bags with my clothes that need to go in the wash and then get put away still because
Nice.
it's just like taking care of the laundry. It's not washing it, it's just moving it or putting it somewhere that is not my forte. So, do you have any insight into that one specifically?
So, what I'm going to say is my guess is you do not have a system in place that is wash and rinse and repeat. It's not, it is not something that you can lean into quick and easily. And that is what you need because laundry and dishes are kind of the worst. And they happen over and over again. You use clothes, you dirty clothes, you have to wash them, you have to fold them, you have to put them away. Dishes get, used and have to be washed and they have to be put away. And this is a constant. So dishes are very much like laundry. So you go away, you come home, you've got stuff, especially, I do this thing, I go away, I come back, I have bags and they're filled with dirty things from having been away. And ugh, I don't want to have to do my laundry either. I'm the same. And so systems are vital. Okay. What's your system? What's your routine? Do you have a particular day that is the best day to just say, I'm just doing this. I'm doing laundry. Is it a Wednesday? Is it a Saturday? Is it while you're on the phone with somebody? I like to fold my clothes when I'm doing my Thursday morning talk with my mom. Every Thursday, I'm on the phone for about an hour with my mother. And so that is a fantastic time for me to fold clothes and put them away.
So basically, what you're talking about is a type of habit stacking. So when you can associate doing laundry with doing something else that you already do, then it makes the laundry easier to get done. And then it also maybe not so boring.
Thank you. Habit stacking. I've not heard that term before and I love it.
I think that's a great idea. And also, so I don't struggle with dishes. I'm pretty good at doing the dishes, but like I said, I do struggle with laundry. And you are right, it's because I don't have a system. And I've thought before, oh, maybe I could do laundry on like Thursdays and Sundays, or it's not that bad when it's the one load to put away, but when you wait and then wash it all at once, then it does take a really long time to put away. So definitely something for me to consider. And what's funny is that you talked about there being an emotional aspect to clutter. And like I just said, I'm pretty good at doing the dishes, but when I'm not on top of the dishes is when I feel very overwhelmed with having too much on my plate, work wise or personal life wise, or all of the above. Then the dishes will start to pile up a little bit, or I'll have to ask my husband to help me so that we can get back to a baseline.
It's so funny that you said that because I was thinking about that this week because I threw my back out a couple of days ago and I did not do the dishes that day. And I looked at the dishes yesterday and I just went, oh, these have to get done. If they don't get done, what is going to happen? And I just, it looked like the most torturous thing in the entire world to do. But, and I was in a lot of pain, but they had to get done. And so I hunkered down and I did them. And I felt so much better, like mentally and emotionally. Once they were done, the kitchen was clear, the sink was empty. But I'm telling you, on that day when I was in physical pain, and yeah, sure, you can say, well, I was in physical pain. I didn't want to stand in the kitchen doing dishes. Well, I didn't emotionally want to deal with the dishes. It wasn't just physically not wanting to stand there and do it. It was emotionally, I didn't want to do it. When I'm ill, if I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, I don't want to do the things in my house. And before I decluttered my house, if I was any of those things, this place would fall to ruin, like just horror. But since I decluttered my house, what are we at? Maybe 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was. Um, because I have systems in place, I can be ill. I can go through a depressive slump. I can be anxious and nervous and all the things. I can have an injury, and putting things back to rights is no longer torture. It's amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. So, do you think that I'm crazy if I tell you that when I have my house and my office decluttered, I always make more money than when it's a mess?
Of course not. You're not crazy at all. That makes perfect sense because one, you're way more efficient. You're way more productive because you're more efficient. So why wouldn't you make more money? And again, energetically, okay, we can go to feng shui. If your space, especially your office, which is about making money, if it is put to rights energetically, you're just money is going to flow to you more naturally. Feng shui is one of the first things about it is decluttering. And there's a lot about it that is about bringing financial prosperity to you. So, nope, you're not crazy at all.
Yeah,
I'm here for
I
you.
have a certain handful of things that I notice whenever I do them regularly or keep on top of them, it seems like things always just flow better, and it's like, why are some of them still so hard to do regularly if I already know that? But what would you say kind of comes first? Do you declutter your mind and then as a result you're going to want to declutter your space, or do you think that when you declutter your space you leave the room for your brain to declutter itself too?
So the primary major decluttering has to come after the mind. Like in my life, I had I had taken care of my physical health, my mental and emotional health. So, my physical health, Pilates and yoga were really my go tos. I had taken care of my back health. I've had a lot of back injury issues in the past, and Pilates had strengthened me. Yoga had just saved me in general. Yoga had brought spiritual health to me. And I had been to therapists and coaches, worked on my mental and emotional health. And as a therapist and coach myself, it's always important for me to, be stable, as stable as I can be. So I had worked on that stuff all, and I was ready to face all of the emotion that was in my very cluttered home. Because I will tell you that I I had a cluttered home. It was. And I didn't believe that I had the ability to have a tidy home. I didn't understand that about myself. But when I had tackled all those other things, I then saw the potential for myself to to achieve something different in my home. In 2018, I took 2.5 months and I touched almost everything in my house. Now, I left my husband's stuff alone because you don't declutter somebody else's stuff. And it was the winter and I live in the Midwest. And so I did not touch the garage. I got to the whole house and it has stayed decluttered ever since. So now, after that point, it has been since that point, it's now if something gets a little kind of cluttered or out of control or something like that, my mental state might start to crumble, or maybe my mental state has started to crumble and things get a little out of control. Then it's kind of like the house needs to be pulled back together, and then my mental state will kind of follow the house.
I always say that my house is a reflection of my mental state too. Like if I have so much on my plate, I'm not keeping it clean out there. The Roomba vacuum's running, but and I'm doing the
Mhm.
dishes like we talked about, but beyond that, like I'm doing the bare minimum. But when I'm feeling really good and like on top of the world, then I'm anal cleaning everything. Somebody leaves a wrapper out and I'm like, you better put that in the trash. So I can definitely go two different ways there. I actually have a really fun story related to decluttering. Can I share it with you?
Oh, please do. Yes.
Okay. Do you remember during COVID, it was really hard to get vehicles? Like the I think it was the chips in new
Yeah.
vehicles were hard to
Hmm.
come across. So I ordered a Ford Bronco and this is before they were out. They were new. So like they were just trickling out, but they were really hard to get because the microchip shortage. So I had one ordered. I waited a year and a half for it. And while you're waiting for the vehicle, you don't necessarily know when it's going to come or when it's going to be scheduled for production. And like I said, at that time, it was really hard to get one. So I was like dying, waiting for my dream vehicle to come in. And I one day was just cleaning the garage out. Our garage can get pretty messy because we just stored random like junk in there. So we don't do a great job keeping it organized. We need to put up some shelves or something in there to like help us organize it. But we cleared the whole thing out, went through, organized everything beautifully that day. And then it was like it was actually, I think it was while I was cleaning the garage out, I got the notification that the vehicle was going into production. So it was like mid garage clean, which I think is ironic because obviously that's where the Bronco lives now, is in the
Uh-huh.
garage. But it just kind of like in my mind was
Yeah.
confirmation that when you clear out this space, both physically and energetically, new things can come in. But until you clear out that dusty old clutter, you're not going to make way for the new.
It is such an awesome, just like one-to-one correlation. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is exactly it. You clear the space and you do that even not just with physical stuff, you do that with things in your life too. You might need to clear out relationships to make space for the relationships you're meant to have. You might need to clear out a job for the job you're meant to have. You might need to clear out all kinds of things for the things you're really supposed to have. Your Make space in your lives, guys. Make space for the things that are meant to come to you, because holding on to the things that are blocking you from all the amazing things that you can have, it's not serving you.
Yeah. So you have a background in psychology, coaching, and yoga. How do all three of those come together to build the approach that you have now?
It's really wonderful because it's like bringing modern science and ancient wisdom together. So the psychology and the coaching, so those two are interesting because as a therapist, I come from more of the, for simplified reasons, say like kind of the emotions based approach, whereas with coaching, it's really a very solutions based approach. Okay. And then with the yoga philosophy, that's our ancient wisdom. And so you bring these three things together, and it is this beautifully integrative, holistic approach, which I think today's generations, that is what people are looking for. I think today we need to be integrative in the way that everything is approached. To be pulling everything apart into separate pieces just doesn't work as well any longer. And we need to bring those bits that allow for the the blending, the balance, the yin and the yang, your Oreo cookie, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think that my approach is an Oreo cookie.
Yeah, I think that everything is so multidimensional that if you're not taking into consideration these like different sides to the bigger picture, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So I love that you combine all of those. When you approach decluttering your house or organizing your house, do you take a more minimalistic approach?
For the most part, not. So my bedroom is quite minimalistic, because mm, I truly feel, and again, coming very much from a feng shui perspective, that in the bedroom you want to have as little noise as possible in there, because that room is intended for sleep, and I want that space to be simple, quiet, gentle. So my bedroom is fairly minimal. If you go into the rest of my house, there is stuff. My front room is a man cave arcade. There is stuff everywhere. We've got pinball machines, and we've got other like games and stuff like that. It's awesome. It blows people's minds when they walk into our house. The back of my house is the kitchen living room, and we have photographs from all of our travels around the world. We've got posters from the concerts that we go to. It really is like a salon style of all the things that truly mean so much to my husband and I. Even here in my office, I'm sitting in talking to you. While it is not super crowded with stuff, I've got a ton of plants in here, and there's just a lot of stuff in here, and it's cozy and delicious and lovely. Minimalism is beautiful, and it is it's quiet and calm. And when I'm in a minimalist space, I always think, oh, this is so wonderful. I would love to have my house be like this. And then I remind myself I could never do this because that's not really what my personality is. My personality is ooey gooey, cushy, snuggly stuff.
So, what's your criteria when you're going through and decluttering? Is it like Marie Kondo? I think she's the one that does the if it brings you joy, keep it. Or do you have a
Mhm.
different criteria? Okay.
Sparking joy. That I Marie Kondo. I absolutely agree with her, and I think I do. I probably have other criteria that if you use it, keep it, because not everything sparks joy. Like a wrench doesn't always spark joy. I mean, for some mechanics, their wrenches might spark joy. Um, they don't necessarily for me, but the first criteria of if I pick up something, I'm trying to look around my office to see something that sparks joy for me. I'm just looking at my plants. They spark joy for me. And if you pick it up and it feels joyous to you, keep it. If you pick it up and you're like, eh, then why do you have it? Like my closet, I go into my closet. I do not have a ton of clothes. I have 4 feet of a 4 foot rod of clothing, and they are not squished in. They have a lot of air to breathe because I only have clothes that I really want to wear. And I encourage everybody to do that because if you got clothes that like you don't really feel fantastic when you put them on, why would you have them? Get rid of them now, today, go. That's what you're going to do after you listen to this is you're going to go in your closet, and if it doesn't spark joy, you're going to get rid of that sweater, that blouse, that skirt, whatever. But then there are the other things of if my contacts, I need them and I use them, so of course I keep those. So you're going to have other criteria beyond that, but the real root of things is surround yourself with things that really bring you joy. Like I said, all those things that we have on the walls in our living room, I love those posters. I love the photographs of our travels. That brings me so much joy.
So, decluttering doesn't necessarily mean fitting yourself into a minimalist box if you don't feel like a minimalist or if you don't want that space to have the minimalist look and feel to it. So, I think for some listeners, that's going to be really refreshing to hear because they don't necessarily identify with that, but they assume that decluttering means getting rid of everything. And then I actually take a really similar approach when I do on the off chance I'm putting away laundry that day, as we discussed. I do take a really similar approach to cleaning out my closet because almost every time I put away laundry, I'll take some stuff and get rid of it and bring it to the thrift store because I just like the idea of not having too much of it. And sometimes you'll find that you're wearing or you keep trying to wear a pair of jeans, but every time you wear them, they get like stretched out really quickly and you're like, oh, they're not my favorite. So then eventually it's like, just get rid of them and quit trying to wear them if every time you wear them you don't like them. Or you have clothes that you're always like, oh, I'll wear it someday, but then you never actually get around to wearing it. So those are kind of my criteria. And then like beyond that, if it brings me joy, because sometimes I'm not quite ready to let go of it yet. And other times I'm like, I don't know why I didn't get rid of this sooner.
Absolutely. I actually right now have 2 big bags that are going to be sent off to ThreadUp, which is where I get almost all of my clothing. And I won't get a ton of money to shop with for all these clothes, but whatever doesn't sell gets then either sent to textile recycling or donation. And I do get a little bit of money back to shop again at ThreadUp. So I get to, because my closet's kind of like a living thing that I rotate a little bit because I get with a small wardrobe, you do get kind of bored with the things that you have because you wear them so much. And so this weekend, I'll be sending those 2 bags off to ThredUp so that I can, you know, get a little bit of shopping money. And on the minimalism thing, like you said, it's funny because some people, when they come to me about decluttering, they're afraid that I'm going to tell them to get rid of all of their stuff. That's not my job. My job is not to tell you to get rid of all of your stuff. I'm not here to tell everybody to become a minimalist. And that is really, I think, what the fear is, because minimalism became so trendy for a bit there. And I don't want people to become frightened that decluttering means you're supposed to get rid of all of the things that you love. If you love something, keep it, even if nobody else understands why you're keeping it. And if you're not sure whether you want to get rid of it or not, keep it for now. And if you need to put something into a box and put it on a shelf and come back to it in 3 months to revisit that thing, that's fine too. But I would rather that you kept it for now than that you got rid of it and that you were scarred by getting rid of something that you actually wanted to keep.
Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. So, do you have any stories of either times that you've decluttered and then seen it kind of pay off for you, or when you've helped a client declutter, how that's changed their life?
Well, one thing that I've seen is, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly an answer to your question, but I've seen this happen a few times, is people have decluttered, and as they have decluttered, they have found themselves breaking through weight loss plateaus.
Ooh,
I know, like, no rhyme or reason to it. They haven't changed anything about the, nutrition regimen that they're on, the exercise regimen, but they were at a weight loss plateau, very frustrated, but they started decluttering. And the next thing they know, something changed with their weight loss. So there is a mind body connection there. And I've seen it multiple times. My own father experienced it because have been helping him for a while declutter things. And he was really excited when that happened for him. So
yeah. My first thought was like just thinking logically about why that would happen because I'm sure there's more than just the logics behind it too. But my first thought was that if you're keeping your house decluttered, maybe it was a source of stress before, and stress can obviously make you hold on to weight. And also, if you are spending time going through and cleaning regularly, maybe that person is more active than they were or on their feet more if they're used to like sitting in front of the TV. So that's just purely from a logical standpoint. I could see how that could happen. And then I'm sure there are like energetic things going on there also.
I totally agree with all of those. And even that, like, without even noticing, being a little happier,
Mhm.
any subconscious snacking might not be happening or something, or they might be reducing portions or something, because when we're happier, we just, some of our habits will change. I mean, it's a lot of different things. There just is a difference between having a lot of stuff and having clutter. And when you get rid of clutter, it does change things for you.
Mm. Yeah.
And I can tell you about another client, and I just want to show this real quick too, because the culmination of her stories actually happened this week. That her house was completely filled with stuff. I visited her in her home, and it was the sort of place that you kind of had to put one foot in, in certain places so as not to step on things. And she and her husband eventually just decided that the house had been so neglected that the foundation of the house became cracked. because they were neglecting not just tidying and cleaning and things, but they were neglecting everything. Like it and it was not a hoarding situation. It was just neglect. And she had gained weight, he had gained weight. It was all kinds of things. And she went through a weight loss program, and then they decided to knock down their house and build a whole new house on the property. And they just moved into the new house this week.
Oh, wow.
So she has, in the process of moving everything out of the house, she decluttered. And as she's moving everything into the house, she's decluttering again.
Oh,
And she's doing amazing. She's so happy.
yeah. Well, that's everybody's dream to be able to start over fresh with a totally clean slate.
Right.
So good for them. That's awesome that they have been able to kind of go through that journey and now get that fresh start to really be able to take things forward how they want it. Obviously, we don't want to let things get to that level where we have to do
Right.
that, but
Yes.
that's awesome that they're kind of on the other end now and can start that journey for themselves.
Yeah.
So I really do think that there is this energetic up level that comes with not only taking care of your physical space, but also, like you touched on, your spiritual, mental, emotional, all of the pieces of you and your surroundings. When you take care of one of them, I really do believe that it can come back and show up in positive ways in other areas of your life too. So I think when people look at specifically like business and they're pouring everything into their business but neglecting all other areas of their lives, they don't necessarily realize that the business could possibly be doing better if they would take a break from it to also nurture and fill their cups up in these other areas too, versus just putting themselves in that hole where they're in their office 24/7 and totally draining everything else.
Exactly. We need to be balanced. We need to spread the love, so to speak. We need to put energy into ourselves, into our physical being, our spiritual being, our relationships, space we live in, our jobs. It needs to go in all areas because that's where really where happiness lies. It's like everybody's constantly seeking happiness, but happiness doesn't come from, like you're describing, just solely, you know, being career driven and making more and more and more money. That's not where happiness is going to come from, because you've now neglected all these other areas. And happiness is not going to come from only focusing on your house. If you only focus on your house and I've had clients who will stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning cleaning their homes, but then they're exhausted the next day and they're short tempered with their children and their spouses, and they don't have enough energy for their jobs. Okay. So that's not balanced either. Balance is when we figure out how to give equally, which kind of ebbs and flows, of course, but equally to all the areas of our life, and give enough so that we can be authentic to ourselves. It really is going to keep on always coming back to who is your authentic self. And if you're giving too much to one area, you might be hiding from yourself. And that's just not going to make you happy either.
Mhm.
Finding who you are, what your purpose in life is not going to be found by hiding behind just diving into one thing. You've got to open up to all the things in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And if we're avoiding one area of our life, it might be because we're subconsciously kind of scared to open up that can of worms or actually tackle what needs to be tackled on the other side. So, same with like your house. If you're avoiding decluttering and organizing your house, you might be afraid to start on that project for the energetics of it. Maybe it feels really overwhelming to you to even like start it, or just because you don't want to say goodbye to things or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So I think that all makes a lot of sense. So if somebody's listening and they are ready to take the first step to decluttering their mind and their home, where would you say is like the first place for them to start?
So the literal first place to start is going to be go through your house and pick up anything that is trash or garbage. I know that's not a very sexy answer, but it is the truth. So if you've got, you know, envelopes from bills that came in through the mail that you haven't thrown out, or you've got, you know, wrappers or things like that lying around, because we have these things in our house, you know, empty water bottles, things like that. Throw things in the trash and recycling and whatnot. Go through the entire house, get all that stuff up, and start a new rule in the house that things go in the trash bin, things go in the recycling bin right away. That is the new system. And I don't know, anybody who doesn't follow the new system has to throw 25 cents in a jar. The next place you go is to the broken things. So, you know, the things that have got holes in them, the things that have been sitting around gathering dust because they've been broken and nobody's using them, but you keep on saying, oh, we're going to fix this, or I'll get around to it, or whatever it is. And from there, start using the one in, one out rule at the very least. If you are going to buy something, figure out what's going to leave your house too.
Ooh, that's a fun rule. You said one in, one out, and I was like, okay, I can picture what that means. But I was thinking just if you get a new coffee mug, a coffee mug has to go, but it doesn't even have to be like specifically related, right?
It does not.
Okay.
It really works, especially with clothing, because especially after you've decluttered, because like when if you do a one to one with clothing, because you get your wardrobe down to like this, so you know you say, okay, if I get a new piece of clothing, another piece of clothing has to go, so your wardrobe never grows. But it doesn't have to only be like you say, coffee mug to coffee mug. It can be you get a coffee mug and a throw pillow has to go. It's but it becomes just about you no longer growing the stuff in your house. But you can also do the one in, two out rule. So two
Mm.
things have to leave the house, which means you're starting to shrink the amount of stuff that you have in the house. And this starts to get you more and more aware of what you have and more thoughtful about what it is that you're keeping and what it is that you're willing to let go of.
Yeah, I really like that one in, two out rule. I feel like that would be good I feel like it'd be good for me. I want to try that.
Mm,
I'm gonna
okay.
start that. Okay, so I have a cleaning system that sometimes I stick to fairly well, and then sometimes I'll fall off, and then I have to kind of just put myself back onto it. I want to share it with you because I want to know your thoughts on it, and I know
Okay.
that everybody's different. So for everybody, something different is going to work, and what I'm doing isn't going to work for everyone. So what I do when I can stay on top of it is every day I have a set room of the house, because then it's not as overwhelming to me as trying to clean the whole house in one day. And when I try to do that, I don't ever get the bedroom level and the main level. I can only do one level at a time anyway. So I like to do Mondays, I do the entryway. Tuesdays, I have the living room and the hallway. Wednesdays are my office. So it goes similarly to that. And I really like that because then I can deep clean each room. Like if there are scuffs on the wall, if I have time to. And then if I have the time that I want to put into it, I could reorganize the shoe cabinet. Otherwise, at a minimum, like a base level clean for that room. So that's kind of my system. I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a well, it's working for you, right?
Mhm. Yeah, most of the time. And then when I fall off, I need to figure out, do I want to try to catch up on some days or just jump back in and it'll be okay?
Okay, well, tell me what are the reasons why it falls off?
So, usually just like having a busy workload and working later than I should work, which I try not to do, but I still am like a chronic workaholic. So, I try to not work super late, but every once in a while I'll have to get a wedding gallery out because I'm still doing photography, but I'm
Mhm.
phasing out. So, like, I'll just have a little bit of extra stuff that has to get done before I log out. And then I won't want to log out and also clean this room and eat dinner if I haven't eaten dinner yet.
And so do you then just, okay, let's say it was a Tuesday and you missed Tuesday this week. Do you just allow yourself to go to next week and just do 2 weeks of cleaning next Tuesday?
Um, no, I would say I'm not like fully sure I understand the question. So if I didn't do anything until the next Tuesday, I would just do like a Tuesday. It wouldn't be double the work because it's just kind of like whatever I have the capacity for as long as there's a base level clean in that room. But ideally, I'll like wipe scuffs off the wall and stuff too.
Right. So
But if I
you would do that room that you normally do on Tuesday. In theory, I'm saying double the work because it would be 2 weeks worth of.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that's the part that I was missing. So, yeah. Yeah, but sometimes if I like missed one day, I would probably just try to do both days the next day so that I'm back on track.
And does that work for you? Does trying to do two days worth in one day, does that work for you, or does that make you feel overwhelmed?
No, the like one room at a time system is pretty easy for me to get through, especially if I stay on top of it. So I feel like it's not that much work as long as I stay on top of it. It's when I have
Okay.
all of the rooms
Yeah.
that it gets to be a lot. So last week things got a little bit chaotic because I had that bachelorette party coming up. So like
Mhm.
when you have something that takes you away all weekend, then you have to work ahead and like get stuff done for personal life and ahead for business. So then it's like you have this mental clutter and like have to work in the office and whatnot. So like last week I fell off, but it was too many days for me to want to make it up. So I was just like, it's fine. Nobody's dying. I'll jump back on it when I have the capacity.
Okay, okay, that's what I was looking for, was that thing where you say, "That's fine, I'll jump back on when I have the capacity." Because as long as there's not a perfectionist thing that goes, if I miss a few days, I have to catch it up, and now I'm overwhelming myself and I'm burning myself out. And okay, cool. Sounds like you've got a fantastic system that works for you. And I would encourage any listeners who feel like trying that system out, which is a really popular system with a lot of people actually. Try it out, because the breaking your home down into little sections like that, because overwhelm comes from trying to basically eat the elephant all at one time. What you're doing is you're eating the elephant one bite at a time, and that's awesome. So now for other people, they might do their house in a 2 week rotation, because that might make more sense for them. They might have a larger house, their whatever their life might be. But again, sounds like your system is working for you. You're not being too perfectionistic about it. You recognize when it's a good idea to just let it go and catch up when you can catch up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. I told somebody else that, and they're like, oh, that would never work for me. And I was like, oh, but I think I kind of love it for me. And obviously, everybody's different, but they said they very much have to do like the whole house at once. And I was like, that just, it stresses me out. And then it never fully gets done because then I have to stop because it's too much.
Well, Brianna, I'm going to share a secret with you. Your system would never work for me either.
Uh huh.
I think it's a brilliant, fabulous system. It would never work for me. What works for me is I have a cleaning lady who comes in every 2 weeks.
Ooh. Yeah. We had one of those for a little while too. I need her back, I think.
Anna has been with us for 11 years, and she's practically part of the family. Her husband is our handyman. They are just one of the best things that has ever happened to us. And she, I think, was so grateful when I decluttered the house because it made her job way easier. So
Mhm.
instead of having to ask me to, could you please do something with this room, or so I can get into it, or could you, she doesn't have to ask that of me. She doesn't have to do dishes for me any longer. Like, I made her life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, I also encourage, if it is within one's budget, cleaning ladies are also a great system.
Yeah, I will definitely be jumping back on the cleaning lady bandwagon eventually. Okay, and while you were talking about dishes just now, it also reminded me when I lived in Portland, I had some roommates, and I don't remember which one specifically it was, but one of them mentioned something because we didn't have a dishwasher. You're in your 20s, and it was one of those houses where like you wash your dishes by hand.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And one of the roommates mentioned something because somebody hadn't done dishes about how if it takes less than 5 minutes, it makes life so much easier to just do it. And I thought of this earlier too when you were talking about wrappers go in the garbage.
Mhm.
Like just put it in the garbage. It takes 2 seconds. Or the same thing, this is not super related to cleaning, but when you run out of toilet paper and have to change a toilet paper roll, it takes
Mhm.
2 seconds to just put it back on the thing and then it's done and then it doesn't create that buildup of overwhelm and stress in your body and it's just done and over with and where it's supposed to be. So I think that that is also something that when they said it, I was like, that is so valid. And now usually if I have something that takes a really short amount of time, I'll typically just do it. And even in my office too, if somebody sends me an email and I happen to see it and it's something that I can just respond to really quickly, usually I will just do it and get it out of the way. Otherwise, it'll stay in my mind and I'll be like, oh, I still have to
Yeah.
respond to that, or like, I still have to do this thing.
So smart. It's, avoidance is a such a cruel thing to do to ourselves. And I have literally timed how long it takes to do certain things. Like, it takes 3 minutes to make my bed. It takes about 7 minutes for me to tidy up my kitchen in the morning, because I usually do the dishes and everything in the morning. And it included in that is feeding my cats, apparently, because they want to be fed. I once timed how long it took me to pick up the thing that was on the floor that I kept walking past. And I think it actually needed to be tossed in the garbage bin. I can't remember, but it took I think it took like 20 seconds to walk over to it, pick it up, and walk it over to the garbage bin or whatever it was. Or maybe it took less than that. I don't know. But I timed it because I was like, this is ridiculous. You keep walking past this thing over and over and over again. Why are you not picking it up? So sometimes timing yourself to see how long these things that you keep avoiding actually take makes it even more concrete in your head as to how little time these things take. And so, how silly it is not to just bloody well go ahead and do them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same thing with like when you have the big to do list, and there are always the couple things that you keep putting off because you're like, oh, it's such a big project. But when you do it, it takes 20, 30 minutes and it's done. And it's been creating so much stress in your life for like weeks at this point.
And then you're like, oh, why didn't I just do that? Oh my
Right.
God.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think this conversation has been so fun. And I think that a lot of people are going to get, well, first of all, a kick in the butt to go clean their house. Cause now I'm like, what time is it? Is it appropriate to just go clean the house now and shut my computer off for the rest of the day? Because I'm feeling really excited about it. But thank you so much for sharing with listeners. Where can everybody find you if they want to follow along with you?
So, of course, the best place to go is going to be my website, soulfulspacecoaching.com. But you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at katesevans.coaching. Yeah, those are going to be the best places to find me.
Okay, amazing. Well, go give Kate a follow. Send her before and after pictures of all of the rooms you declutter.
I would love
And
that.
yeah, and make sure that you share this episode with a friend or family member who would benefit from it too. Thanks for tuning in to Rebel CEO. If today's episode lit a fire under you, I would love if you would hit subscribe, leave a rating, and drop a review. That little action helps more purpose-driven women like you find this show. And make sure that you're not keeping all of this magic to yourself. Share this episode with a friend who's ready to ditch the rules and build a life that actually feels good. If you're looking for a little one-on-one connection, slide into my DMs on Instagram at rebel.ceo.podcast. Until next time, keep breaking the rules, chasing your purpose, and creating the life that you were meant for. I'll see you in the next episode.